I gave Christian Benteke the golden boot, interviewed him in the press conference, had the best seat in the house to watch DC United, toured Audi Field, and checked out Washington, DC. Come with me to see what it was like.
What's up, footy fam? Jack Grimse here. Hope you're ready for another footy adventure. Today, we're off to Washington, DC, just a couple of hours away on the train. This is going to be an incredible weekend. DC United invited me to experience the final match of the 2024 MLS regular season and meet up with Christian Benteke. DC United are on the cusp of clinching a playoff berth, and Benteke is in line to win the golden boot. I'll tell you all about it, but first, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and get comfortable. I've been known to get carried away when it comes to talking about Aston Villa.
Christian Benteke is one of my all-time favorite footballers. But why? My love for Christian Benteke goes way back, more than a decade.
I started following Aston Villa in December 2008. But it was pretty casual compared to my present-day devotion. A few years later, I was watching just about every week. The team wasn't too good though. We had just sold my favorite player and the guy who helped me discover the club, Ashley Young, and to Manchester United of all clubs, in the summer of 2011. Honestly, I was pretty gutted. I was just getting into the sport and the club, and now I had to find a new favorite player. Following Villa at the time wasn't a whole lot of fun. Before the 2011-12 season, Alex McLeish had been appointed as manager from hated crosstown rivals Birmingham City despite the fan protests. Villa started the season unbeaten after 7 games, but only won 2 of those. In the squad were some solid but unspectacular players for the most part. Gabby Agbonlahor scored 4 goals in those first 7 games, but only 1 in the other 31 games of the campaign. Darren Bent was solid, but an ankle injury was a big reason Villa only won 2 games in the second half of the season. Thankfully, the next summer, Christian Benteke arrived. Aston Villa paid Henk a £7 million fee for a 21-year-old Benteke on the 31st of August 2012. Adding a striker on transfer deadline day may have looked like a panic buy at the time, but objectively, it was the best business done by the club in that era. He was included in a combined transfer announcement with Ashley Westwood. Funnily enough, Westwood is on Charlotte FC, playing for another former Villa manager in Dean Smith. We might even see them later in the video. Anyway, back to Benteke. Young, dynamic, and already a goal machine. Belgium's top flight isn't always a good predictor of success, especially in the Premier League. Benteke's skill set features aerial dominance, clever finishing, surprising pace, and a knack for the spectacular. Combined with his work rate, it was a career trajectory that would blossom in Birmingham. Even after missing the first 3 matches of the 12-13 season, Benteke would tally 19 Premier League goals. His 19th of the season, a brilliant solo strike against Chelsea, demonstrated the extent of Villa's tactics at the time. Get the ball to Benteke. He picks up the ball just into the Chelsea half, dribbles 40 yards, and finishes with his left foot, past Gary Cahill and Peter Cech, banking it in off the near post. Benteke would end up being sent off for a second yellow card, for a high boot against John Terry that might not even have connected, and Villa lost 2-1. The suspension meant Benteke missed the final match of the season and a shot to become Aston Villa's first player to score 20 goals in a Premier League season. The last to grab 20 league goals? Peter With in the 1981-82 campaign. Ollie Watkins hit 19 last year as Villa qualified for the Champions League with a stellar supporting cast. Benteke, he was pretty much on his own back then. Even so, he got 10 goals the next season despite injury problems and a torn Achilles tendon that cost him his place for Belgium at the 2014 World Cup. And in his final campaign at Villa, things were pretty bleak for most of the season. Winless runs of 9 and 12 matches were somehow overcome by timely wins and timely goals from Benteke. Of Benteke's 13 goals that season, only 2 came in losing efforts. His 13 goals were 42% of the paltry 31 that Villa scored in 38 Premier League games. Villa somehow survived relegation by just 3 points, even though astonishingly, after 4 matches, Villa were second in the Premier League with 10 points, and without Benteke. But 6 consecutive losses followed, and Villa had only scored 5 goals in 10 games. 3 more draws, as Benteke served his red card suspension picked up against Spurs for pushing a player in the face. The fan base was restless. On the train back from Burnley, after the 3rd straight draw made it more than 2 months without a win, Villa supporter Alex Davis delivered this incredible chant.
Striker, Christian Benteke. There
excuse to play that song. Christian saw the video, he loved it, and shared it on Twitter, saying, "Thanks for the new song, hopefully it will help me score and help the team." The next game, Benteke scores the winning goal against Crystal Palace. The Belgian assists Alan Hutton's unlikely winner the following week against Leicester. 2 massive wins and 6 massive points. I like to think it was inspired by that chant. Outside of the FA Cup, Villa were goalless in January and winless in February. Paul Lambert was sacked midway through February as the club dipped into the relegation zone. More concerningly, they had scored just 12 goals in 25 games, the lowest in Premier League history at that mark. Look at these winning percentages for the Villa managers of this era. Unai Emery's is 55%. I'm serious, supporting Villa back then was really tough for the mental health. Anyway, new manager, same average results. A real turning point came on the 7th of April 2015 against QPR at Villa Park on Monday night. Villa were 15th, QPR 19th. Both firmly in the relegation battle. Villa conspired to lose the game, but Benteke kept bailing us out. After QPR took an early lead, Benteke answers back, dribbling past the defender and smashing it. A deflection takes it into the back of the net. Benteke found Jack Grealish for what could have been Grealish's first senior goal at Villa, denied by Rob Green. Minutes later, Villa are on the counter-attack. Agbonlahor gets clattered, but not before he plays Benteke through. A stutter step to square it up, and a cheeky finish past the goalkeeper. Villa lead 2-1. Tim Sherwood is fist bumping on the touchline and Villa Park is erupting. Choruses of "Oh, Christian Benteke" fill the stands, but QPR head home from a corner to equalize, and with 20 minutes to go, Charlie Austin scores. Villa trail 3-2. With 82 minutes gone, Aston Villa win a free kick from 25 yards out. Up steps Christian Benteke. We've never seen him take free kicks before, and we would never see him take another free kick. A perfect strike off the inside of the post completes the hat trick. Villa earn a point. Benteke scores the only goal the following Saturday against Spurs. Villa are on a roll. A 2-1 win at Wembley against Liverpool in the FA Cup semi-final was a glorious Sunday. Jack Grealish is coming of age, Fabian Delph is pulling the strings, and Benteke is involved in the build-up as well. Step aside, Coutinho and Gerrard. Villa are going to the final. Both Merseyside clubs were no match for Benteke. A brace against Everton in a 3-2 win sends Villa up to the relative safety of 14th. Just 1 point above Sunderland and 18th though. Another win the following week effectively sealed survival before 2 defeats closed out the league campaign in a demoralizing FA Cup final defeat at the hands of Arsenal. Benteke's final goal for Aston Villa came in a 6-1 defeat to Southampton. A match that's remembered for Sadio Mane scoring the fastest hat-trick in Premier League history. 3 goals in the span of 2 minutes, 56 seconds. It was a comedy of errors from a truly terrible team. But that one shining moment came from Christian Benteke in first half stoppage time to make it 5-1. Rising above the defenders, smashing a towering header into the top corner. The goalkeeper didn't move, and it didn't matter. You're not stopping the beast on those. 49 goals and 12 assists in 101 games for Aston Villa. For those 3 seasons, Christian Benteke saved Aston Villa for relegation. And for that, he earned lifelong devotion not only from myself, but countless other villains. Sadly, that summer Benteke would be sold after Liverpool's offer of 32.5 million Great British pounds met the release clause in his contract. And the very next year, Aston Villa were relegated. That was then. This is now.
Christian Benteke is absolutely on fire this season. He leads the MLS Golden Boot race with 23 goals in 29 games.
I would claim to be pleasantly surprised, but I predicted it at the beginning of the season.
Let's predict the 2024 MLS season. Golden Boot winner, Christian Benteke.
Benteke is in his best form since those Villa days, and I'm here for it. He scored the most goals since his debut season in 2012-13. In that campaign, Benteke bagged 23 goals, including 19 in the Premier League. One of them I actually saw in person, the first time I went to Villa Park. Along with the 2 goals he scored in Leagues Cups, it's 25 goals in all competitions for Christian, making 2024 the most prolific season of his career. When it comes to MLS's top goal scorers this season, here's how the list looks. Benteke's closest competitors are Denis Bouanga of LAFC and Cucho Hernández of Columbus Crew, both tied on 19 goals with 1 match remaining. Not even the Inter-Miami duo of Leo Messi and Luis Suárez have been able to touch him, with 17 and 18 goals respectively. Considering he's scoring every 109 minutes in the league, I expect Benteke to bag at least 1 more against Charlotte FC, send DC United into the playoffs, and walk away with the first golden boot of his career. Cucho and the crew travel to the New York Red Bulls on decision day, while Bouanga and LAFC host the San Jose Earthquakes. It would take a miracle for someone to snatch the golden boot from him, but stranger things have happened in football. Let's hope they don't.
Christian Benteke is in the form of his life.
It's great to see him back to his best after watching him spend 6 years at Crystal Palace, where he only hit double-digit goals in 2 seasons. Not only is he on track to win the Golden Boot, he's also leading MLS by a mile in both aerials attempted and aerials won. We've seen Benteke score all types of goals in his career: left foot, right foot, overhead kicks, even a free kick, but I think his trademark finish is a powerful header, and he scored 8 headed goals, also leading MLS. The big man has been absolutely immense, and it couldn't have come at a better time for DC United. His goals have been responsible for 25 of DC United's 40 points, with 1 game remaining. He started off the season with a hat-trick, as DC claimed victory on opening day. But by midsummer, despite 14 goals from Bentekers, the club from the capital was stuck in a serious slump. In early July, DC United were dead last in the East, 15th out of 15th, with 20 points after 20 games. And they'd just been thumped 5-0 by Orlando City to make it 11 games without a win, drawing just 3 of those. In the 10 games since then, Christian Benteke has stepped up with 9 goals and 4 assists, scoring in all but 3 of those games. And DC has lost just once since an insane 3-4 defeat to FC Dallas on the 25th of August. Even as recently as the 23rd of September, United were sitting precariously in 13th place and desperately trying to scrap their way into the playoffs. But they had been jumped by the Philadelphia Union, who sprung to 8th after a 4-0 win against DC. Was a playoff push still possible? With Benteke performing so well, why were DC even in that position to begin with? A big factor was the non-existent performances of his fellow attackers in the first half of the season. Creative players like Gabriel Pirani, Ted Kudipietro, and Mateus Klitsch all underperformed in goals and assists. Luckily, they started clicking at the perfect time. Back-to-back wins in October saw DC break their way into the playoff positions. This includes a famous 4-3 win against Nashville, where Pirani memorably scored 2 goals in stoppage time to win the match. With Benteke scoring goals for fun and key attacking players hitting form, the timing is perfect for DC to make a run in the playoffs.
It's MLS decision day, and the playoff hopes of many clubs hang dangerously in the balance. Luckily for DC United, they've hit form at the perfect time and only need 1 point to secure a playoff spot. Here's what the playoff picture looks like heading into the Charlotte game.
Quick format refresher. 9 teams per conference advance to the MLS Cup playoffs. DC currently sit in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. They're tied on 40 points with Montreal, who have an inferior goal difference. Below them are Philadelphia and Atlanta, who are tied on 37 points. Both Philly and Atlanta have an outside shot at qualifying if DC or Montreal fail to win, as they have a superior goal difference. Toronto technically sit in 10th place, but have been eliminated after already playing their final game of the season. While a win for DC would put the icing on the cake, the bottom line is they simply need 1 point to take care of business and secure their spot in the playoffs. If they lose, they just have to pray that the teams below don't win and overtake them. And with Benteke in his current form, I don't think that will be a problem.
DC United are out for warm-ups, meaning my phone is turning into Benteke cam for the next 20 minutes. Actually, a pretty respectable amount of Charlotte FC fans here today. Let's see if this fills in, but I think with MLS away days, pretty impossible due to the travel logistics. This one is actually one of the games that is feasible. Fans here are so close to the pitch. I'm excited to see what the atmosphere is like. Being down here, you can hear everything that the players are gonna hear, see what they see. Pretty special. 2 former villains that were signed on the same day, Christian Benteke and Ashley Westwood, now captains of DC United and Charlotte FC respectively, leading their teams out onto the pitch. Kickoff just around the corner. My final prediction, DC 2, Charlotte 1. That's the man we all came to see, Christian Benteke. Honestly, it warms my heart to hear a full stadium of screaming fans hyped to see the big man do his thing. Come on. Another close chance for Benteke. He's got to find one of these soon.
As you can see, having press access and a pitchside seat is amazing, but I wanted to see what it was like up in the supporter section, so let's go check that out.
That referee may be the most hated man in DC right now. He flagged for offside. He just made a motion of VAR. Is that Benteke goal going to stand? No! The referee says offside. Halftime, no score. Few chances for Benteke. He wasn't able to find the back of the net. Well, he did once, but he was offside. So we're going to have to wait for the second half to get that goal. Second half underway, and we just got a chance to look at the live table. Currently, DC taking 1 point from this game. It's still scoreless. However, Atlanta are winning, so if Charlotte goes ahead, DC will be out of the playoff picture. We need a goal, and we need one from Benteke. It's a goal for Charlotte, and just like that, DC are out of the playoff picture if the scoreline holds. Players surrounding the referee, encouraging him to look at a replay. There was a shout for a handball just down here a minute ago. Could have been a penalty. Turns around the other way, and Charlotte take the lead. Dino is loving it on the Charlotte touchline. Big save from Bono. I don't even want to think about what would happen if it goes to 2-0. Yeah. There you go. Yeah! Not again. Benteke absolutely can't believe it. I thought he held his run, so did he. This stadium is furious that the linesman has flagged for offside. Yet again, I'm looking around trying to see if there's a replay. Was he offside? Guys, I didn't see, but it seems like it. DC and Benteke still waiting for that crucial goal. And that is devastating for DC United. Charlotte FC, 2 counterattacks, 2 goals. They've been clinical, and now DC's playoff hopes really hang in the balance. Oh. Benteke completely taken out, hoping for a penalty. Referee says no, it's a goal kick. And it's another goal for Charlotte FC. This place, there are just no words. Everybody is disappointed, just to say the least. The only hope for DC United now is an Orlando City goal. And as I say that, there's been a goal for Orlando City. If the scores hold, DC will be in the playoffs, despite self-destructing at home. On decision day, MLS is crazy. Looks like the news has hit the supporters section. Perhaps one last chance for DC, but the Orlando City goal has been disallowed. They'll need to score again for DC to get back into the playoffs. Charlotte fans having a field day. Unfortunately, It looks like DC season comes to an end in devastating fashion on the cusp of the playoffs. It just didn't pan out. Charlotte with 3 goals, Benteke 2 goals disallowed. I was really thinking it was going to happen, but sometimes that's just how it goes. The fans still showing their appreciation for the players. They did have a really good run at the end of the season, and you know, you didn't want it to end like this, but you still got to show some appreciation for the guys that got you here.
As you can see, we were on the pitch at the end of the game. The way I envisioned this, DC would have won the match, went to the playoffs, probably bolstered by a couple of goals from Benteke himself. I was planning to give him the boot right there on the pitch, but the moment just wasn't right. So our next stop is going to be the press conference. Earlier, I promised you a stadium tour. I came back to Audi Field the day after the game to get a full behind the scenes look at one of the best soccer specific stadiums in America. The tour video is coming out soon, so make sure to subscribe. But let's get back on track. We're all here to meet Christian Benteke.
Christian, you talk about lessons, you talk about experience. You're one of the veterans on this team and the captain. What kind of takeaways are you trying to stress for the young guys? I know you said you don't want to talk about next year, but this is a big moment for, I think, a lot of these guys' career.
I think, well, I will say that we all have to realize as a club that we have to live the moment, because even me, for me, like at 33 years old, obviously I'm looking after myself and I still have a few more years, but sometimes when you project yourself in the future, you miss the present moment. And this is what might happen now, because we're gonna talk, oh yeah, the next season, but that was the moment that we could build for the next season. And of course now it's gonna be a season or off season where we all will have to reflect what we did wrong and what we can improve. And I know for sure that Troy is a smart man, and he knows what the club needs to do for us to go back where we belong, because I think this club deserves more than what they've been having the last couple of years. We deserve. We were so close to being a playoff. That's the reality, but we fell short, and we have to learn from it, and next season we have to come back stronger. That's for sure.
Press conference in the books, we heard from the head coach and the captain himself. Both were incredibly disappointed with how things panned out on decision day and have some thinking to do before next season. But before the match day is over, there's one thing I still have to do. Despite the subdued mood, we're in the DC United locker room for the trophy presentation.
Christian, thank you for the time and the press conference. I got something for you. I know. Yeah, I know you said you probably would trade it obviously for the playoffs, and I'll be honest with you, I think you're gonna get a better one tomorrow. But
I appreciate
I wanted to give you something.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I'm a massive Villa fan. I've been following your career for, I don't know, 12 years, 13 years ever since then, and seeing you scoring all these goals at DC, it makes me really happy to see you doing so well again.
You, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Earlier in the video, I explained why I care so much about Christian Benteke. So when I found out that I would have the chance to meet him, I had to do something special. Getting this golden boot made was a lot of fun, and I hadn't done something like this before. So even though Benteke's was getting the official MLS golden boot the next day, I hope that my trophy was able to cheer him up a little bit on a tough night for the team.
What a day. Obviously the result was not what we wanted to see, but personally, I still got to meet one of my favorite footballers of all time in Christian Benteke, and I even gave him the golden boot before MLS did. So hey, pretty special, but most importantly, want to say a thank you to you, Footy Fam. This would not be possible without your support. Thank you so much. If you watched the video all the way to here, you're a legend. Gotta also say another thank you to DC United. Appreciate them hooking me up. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna be back tomorrow for a stadium tour. Stay tuned for that one, but for now, roll the credits.
Thank you, Footy Fam. A special thanks to the VIPs and Ultras who are paid subscribers on the Footy Fam Patreon. This video wouldn't be possible without your support. If you want to see your name in the credits and get other awesome perks like BTS content and more, make sure to subscribe via the link in the description.